Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I organize my yarn and store it on my yarn wall and throughout my studio, and also what I do with my leftover yarn after a project, how I store it, and what I do with it. So my yarn cubby wall, I like to store everything as the project that I would be putting it in, or I keep all of the same yarn brands, yarn types together, and I'll show you what I mean here. So these two cubbies right here, except for that yarn over, this right here, this is my temperature blanket project yarn. So I'm keeping everything together so that way I know exactly where to go to get it. So here's my size 5 weight yarn. I even input my little card here, slid that in there so I have a good reference. This is my 4 weight yarn. Here I have a bunch of yarn that I got on a Hobby Lobby clearance. I thought the texture would be a lot of fun to play with, and it's so soft that I was like, wow, this could be a really good baby item, whether it's a stuffed animal toy or a clothing item. I just got a lot because there were so many ideas that kept rushing to me that I wanted to do with this yarn. So I just kept this yarn together. So that's why it's all right here next to each other. Down here, same thing. This yarn right here is Premier Anti-Peeling Everyday DK yarn. It's all the same, so it's all together. Down here, this yarn I bought from Yarnivore in Fort Worth. Remember, I don't know if you guys saw this on my vlog channel. I went to Yarnivore in Fort Worth with my husband a couple years ago, and I bought this yarn, and I love it so much. I mean, can you blame me? The colors here are gorgeous. It is Serdar Jewel Spun Aran, so it's a size 4 weight yarn, and it's just absolutely stunning. So I was thinking about making a poncho with that. I haven't even gotten a chance to look to see if they still sell this yarn anymore, so I don't know if I'll be able to create a tutorial with it or if it is going to end up just being another personal project. We will see. Here I have the book that Hannah got me for Christmas. I just love having it displayed because I think it's so cool. Behind it, I have yarn that was gifted to me from Sharanya, one of my crafters gatherers. I plan on making a snood with it. I think it's awesome, and it's definitely a color that is in my color wheelhouse of things that I like to wear. So got this right here, 4 skeins of that I am excited to play with. Right here I have yarn that was also on clearance. See, I still have so much. I got so much of this because the prices were so insane that I just stocked up. I got these yarns to make a scarf. So I already have the project in mind, what I'm going to do with it, so I put them all together. This was all Yarn Bee Pima Suprema in the color Charcoal and the color Merlot. And yeah, that's going to be a gift. Down here is yarn, if you may recognize it. This was from the Hirschner's yarn haul video that was picked out by my members. This is the Denim Grace line. I just absolutely love the way it feels. I love the way it looks. It's got those earthy tones that I love. They're just my vibe, right? So just super excited to play with these and dive into that. This is that gorgeous yarn from Michaels. I want to make a wearable with this really bad. I think it'll make an amazing sweater. That's why I have 5 of them, enough to hopefully make a sweater. Ideally, fingers crossed, that would be amazing. When I purchase yarn, I try to purchase enough to do something with it. I don't try to dabble. Like before I even buy the yarn, my thought process is, what could I make with this yarn? And then I try to get enough yarn for whatever quick project I had in my head. I have a whole bunch of Lily Sugar and Cream in the color Soft Ecru. I wanted to make dream catchers with that. So I even have back in the back corner a bunch of these large metal rings, and I want to make a dream catcher. I think that'd be amazing. So that was the idea for this project right here. So again, kind of letting you, not only sharing with you what or how I store my yarn, what I do with it, but also kind of giving you an idea of the projects that just kind of infiltrate my brain and inspire me and what I get super excited to make. Now, whether or not that can make it to my YouTube channel, not everything is going to be able to make it to a video tutorial, but my goal this year is, even if I cannot make it into a video tutorial, still being able to share the pattern with everybody and maybe eventually getting to a video tutorial instead of just not sharing anything unless it becomes a video tutorial, which ends up really limiting a lot of what I can put out into the world. So I keep all of my cotton yarns on this cute little ladder thing. Up top here, I have Willow Yarn Gaia yarn that was gifted to me from Hirschner's year 1 of my YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Hirschner's, for even like giving me yarn. That was a big surprise and I was super excited about it. I used the purple mythical yarn to do the arrow square, if you remember the arrow square. I just all of a sudden had this brilliant idea to turn all these into granny squares with varying colors, and now I'm super pumped to just kind of use this up, making something with all of these colors joined together in some kind of granny square, because even making a basic granny square but with different fibers of yarn, sizes of yarn, can completely change the look of the granny square, and I think I'm just super excited to try it out now. So I have a project in mind for those guys. And then down here is just more of the Lily Sugar and Cream yarns that I either had projects for or it was on sale, and so I got a couple. The colored ones, I struggle with the colored striped variegated ones because I don't really know what to make with those apart from washcloths and pot holders. Might just use up my yarn and create a bunch of soap sacks to help a charity, help a need, but also use up some of the yarn that's just been sitting here and, you know, give it a purpose instead of having it just collect dust. The very bottom here is a yarn that I just couldn't pass up. It was a yarn that was on Hobby Lobby's clearance sale. Originally $40 per skein, on sale for $10 a skein. I don't know if you can see that, it might be blurry. But when I saw that price, I was like, oh, that used to be $40 all by itself. I've got to play with this. So I got 5 of them. So I know I spent $50, but check this stuff out, man. How incredibly cool is that? So I have had a couple people like, what are you gonna do with that? My idea, my plan is to create a mesh crochet rectangle and then take this yarn and weave it in and out of the mesh and seal it, and then have this incredible design intermixed with the mesh yarn. I think that would look super, super cool. So it'll end up just being a personal project that I do, and maybe even turn it into a tapestry type deal that I can hang on my wall and just help make my space feel even more yarny and crochet and comfy cozy. Okay, next I'm gonna share with you my last few cubbies, and then I'll share with you how I store my yarn that I have used and it's just not ready. I'm not ready to let go of it yet. What I have here is, again, more yarn that's all the same brand, all the same type. I was going to potentially make something with all these colors or just kind of keep all the same yarns together. I actually used these yarns right here. They are Mainstay, 100% acrylic. I made my son a bunch of keychain stuffed animals for Christmas, and I didn't want to use a yarn that was too expensive because it's a keychain that's going to be worn on a backpack, and also I liked the structure that this yarn produces. It makes a really strong structure for the stuffed animals that I was creating. So I have all this left over and ready to make more things with. Here I have a yarn that was gifted to me, so wanted to make sure I displayed it so that way I keep it in my face. Let me know in the comment section if it's out of sight, out of mind for you too. Let me know. That's why I try to keep everything in my face. And I often have messes everywhere, but to me, it's organized chaos. It's not messes. It's so that way I can see it and it's brought to my attention instead of out of sight, out of mind. I completely forgot about it. Then I have a bunch of this yarn. The Yarn Bee Jumbalicious. I used this yarn to make the bear hug blanket, or a lot of this yarn to make the bear hug blanket. Unfortunately, discontinued. So I will probably use this yarn to make another type of blanket that I will just gift to somebody, and lots of love. This yarn here I bought to make a floor poof for my bestie Hannah, and she picked this one, and they still sell it, but it's that yarn that's full of polyfill. It's not like yarn, it's like tube yarn. And all it says is it's 100% acrylic. So I'm like, okay. But this is a lot of fun, and planned on making a really cool floor poof with that. The way I organize my yarn is I group it all in projects that are it's going to be the same project, or I group it all together according to its same type of yarn, same variety of yarn. Next, I'm going to share with you how I store the yarn that I have started working with and the leftovers of projects. Welcome to the floor. So these are my cubbies that I have, either projects that I've started and should probably abandon and just reuse the yarn for other purposes, or the yarn that I have left over from past projects. Go ahead and start with the past projects I've abandoned. Just kind of, again, major projects. I think this yarn doesn't even exist anymore. I started it for somebody, and I might have to just completely figure out a different purpose for it. I think I have enough to make just a nice shawl. I might even keep it just the way it is and just turn it into a shawl because it's not finished. But project number one. Project number two. I have a whole bin basket dedicated. Do you remember last year I made the Dino Lovey? And I think I used this, in fact, I'm pretty sure I used this material right here to make the Dino Lovey. I have the other materials of the other Lovey stuffed animals that I wanted to make. And I have some yarn that I have already kind of like prepped for the next thing I wanted to make. Over here, I have another project that I will probably have to repurpose, figure that out. I started a backpack for my mom. So mom, proof I did actually start it. And I've gotten this far. My mom had this incredible idea. She loves Chihuahuas, and she was like, could you make me a backpack that has a Chihuahua head on the front flap? And I was like, Mom, really? I will try my best. So I'm this far into a project that is like 3 years old. This yarn right here is a yarn that is a part of another major project that I think I will release this year. It's a huge tote bag that is just super awesome. I used to make a lot of stuffed animals, and when you make a lot of stuffed animals or a lot of smalls, then you don't use up a lot of yarn, but you need a lot of colors because the colors help with depth and dimension and personality and just giving the item more to it. So because I used to make a bunch of stuffed animals, I would have a lot of yarns that I would just kind of like use and then cake it up so that way it was pretty and not a mess. And I put them together according to colors, so they're all organized based on colors. So this is like my blues, all my blues. Here I have my oranges, yellows, and pinks. And again, I have caked up. I tried to clean things up as much as possible. I have a couple that I just rolled into balls. Over here, I have my purples, my blacks and whites and creams and grays. So honestly, I have all of my yarns out and breathing. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but if you keep your yarn in the plastic, then it can cause it to mold. Due to condensation, weather, lots of things going on there. So all my yarn is breathing. There is that risk of potential dust involved, in which case there are organza bags. I have a fellow YouTuber slash crafters gather, Lisa, who is a big fan of organza bags, which are also bags baggies that you would see at a lot of weddings. You can find these bags in the wedding department if that's what you're looking for. But these mesh bags have a really tight mesh that's breathable, and you can place the yarn inside these bags and they don't get dust on them because the mesh bag is so tightly woven that it protects the yarn but still allows it to breathe. If you organize your yarn differently than I do, please tell me in the comment section below. I think this would be so much fun if maybe you organize all your yarn based on color or yarn weight, or how else have I, or just fibers, different fibers. There's so many different ways that people organize their yarn. I think it's fascinating. So let me know in the comment section below, how do you organize your yarn? All right, guys, I had so much fun sharing yarn with you, talking yarn with you, and sharing with you the behind the scenes, how I organize everything. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll see you guys with the next one. Bye.